Hey Stitch family, it's Andrew here with a very special community update. It's the one I only get to do one time per year. And that's really our farewell to 2022, end of the year in review, and a way to wish all of you, hopefully you've been doing a happy holiday season. We're about to hit the new year, and you can start thinking about your New Year's resolution, particularly your New Year's resolution when it comes to making social connections through the Stitch community or anywhere else for that matter. And I really just wanted to send everyone a message, sending love and best wishes from everyone on the Stitch team. Also taking an opportunity to look back at 2022 in some parts with fondness, in other parts with relief that some of it's over. It's been quite a long year, and I'm sure many of you have had some tough times. That goes with the territory, unfortunately. But there have been some really good things in there as well. So we wanted to kind of reflect on a couple of those things and say thanks to those of you who've contributed, encourage those of you who haven't to come out of the woodwork and get more involved, and really look forward to some of the amazing things we're planning to make happen in 2023 all together. So should we get started? All right, so first of all, just wanted to touch on a couple of the things that we made progress on last year. As you all know, the whole world has been in this transition coming out of, a few years of COVID lockdowns and craziness and social isolation and all those sorts of things, which had a devastating impact on many of us, many of our lives, but also had a very devastating impact on many aspects of in-person activities in the community. So 2022 was really the start of turning things around for many members of the community, starting to dip their toes back in the water to look for a new beginning and try to put all of that past behind us. So to share just a few things with you, we had some great progress. We saw a big increase in the number of new members. So last year we had over 40,000 new members join the community, which was a 56% increase on the previous year, which is fantastic. We all love meeting new members. That's what it's all about. And most people who join Stitch do so because they've heard about it from a Stitch member. So the more that Stitch grows, the more that the community gets better, and you're all playing a role in helping that happen. So please, please, please spread the word. Tell as many people about Stitch, post it on Facebook, share, subscribe, all those sorts of things you do on social media. And you've just got to keep doing it because people take some time before they get up the courage to try something new. We know that. But we've seen that increasing, and we're hoping our goal for 2023 is to double the number of new members from what we had last year, which would be fantastic. Even more encouragingly, a big increase in the number of community champions on Stitch, because that's one of the things. Well, I'm going to show you in a second some of the activities that happened throughout the community this year, and it was just awe-inspiring to see some of the things that are happening. It's just overwhelming in many areas, but in many places there's not a lot happening yet because the community is still forming or starting to get started or still recovering from COVID, or people are still new. So there's this journey that we all have to go on and building new communities. And a real part of that are our community champions. And for those who don't know, a community champion is anyone who organises 3 activities for members in their local area. They just need to name a date and a space and a location and get people together. Sometimes if it's a new community, that's you might not get a lot of responses, but it's the community champions that are really the heart and soul of getting new community activities started and getting members in the area engaged. It takes, I don't want to say a lot of courage because it's actually a really fun thing to do, but it's not everyone is ready to do it straight away. So in 2022, we grew our number of community champions by over 50%. Like it was a massive, Stitch have been going for several years, and to grow to, we now have 530 community champions around the world, which is great. These are people who've done multiple events and activities for them, for the rest of the community. And we really want to thank anyone who's attended an activity, really needs to thank the organizers and the community champions who've done so. That was really cool. We're really hoping to see, even again, we're aiming to double everything we do in 2023. That's the goal. We saw an increase. We crossed the threshold of 10,000 events and activities published on Stitch for the first time. 10,000, that's amazing. So In some areas, that means there's 10 or more events, activities happening in neighborhoods, and some of them are big, some of them are small. In some areas, it's only getting started, as I said, but 10,000, that's a new high for us, and we're planning on going well beyond that. But more than the sheer number of the activities, what really was encouraging about the future, we think, for the communities was the number of unique locations for where those activities were held. So last year, that over doubled. We went from 401 locations through to 816 neighborhoods, towns, communities around the world. And that means there's a lot of new community growth happening in new areas. And as long as that keeps happening, the community will be vibrant everywhere sooner than later. Thank you to everyone who hosted their first activity for the first time in 2022. Hopefully you're doing yourself a favor, but you're really doing members of your local area a favor by hosting something and giving them an opportunity. Even if they don't initially start to come along, eventually they'll overcome that kind of social anxiety and get engaged, and you are doing a wonderful thing for so many people. So that's fantastic. 816 new towns, neighborhoods, locations where events were hosted around the globe. Incredible. The other thing which I thought was just completely amazing was the number of unique hosts. So in 2021, we had 553 hosts of activities, and that again over double last year to 1,192, almost 1,200 hosts. And these are just members just like you, just like me, well, not like me, but mainly more like our members who are suggesting and organizing events and activities in their area. That's wonderful. That growth has happened from new members. Fantastic to see such enormous enthusiasm for what Stitch can be when the communities get started. And we're just so thrilled to see that happening. And then finally, as just an indicator of how much engagement we're seeing now and the connections that are being made, we look at the messages that get sent through and new connections made through the community. So that was a huge jump last year from 91,000 messages to 380,000, 500,000 messages. And these are new private messages that are sent between members when they form a new connection, which is really cool. So look, they're all the numbers, but really what is great, we think, is the qualitative aspect, the smiles that you see on the faces of people at Stitch events and activities. And we don't get to see all of it, of course. That's not possible, but occasionally members send in some photos of the events that are happening and these are happening in so many towns, multiple countries. It's brilliant. So just take a look at some of the member events and activities that people have shared with us. In some cases, people have got together on Stitch, groups, cultural activities, you name it, dinners, walking, hiking, the list goes on. We are just so proud of every single person who's in one of these photos and all of the other ones that we weren't able to show, because it means that somebody has taken that first step to organize or suggest something to do. And just as importantly, the new members or the other members who've got out of their comfort zone to come along to meet someone new. It's really hard to do sometimes. You might feel very nervous, but you will discover very quickly that most Stitch members are just like you, wonderful human beings, and we're just so proud to be associated with such incredible people. So if I was to characterize the year, I think for 2022, it's kind of with a picture like this. We are just planting the seed of something wonderful. We can see it growing, we can see it's starting to thrive and doing wonderful things, and it's beautiful. But the way we think of the future looks much more like this. So our big theme for Stitch for this year is growth. For next year, for 2023, is growth. And in some cases, that's personal growth. We're encouraging everybody to get out of the comfort zone, improve themselves, look for ways that they can contribute to their own lives, but also other people's lives that make it better. And we're also then, of course, looking at growth across the community, which we think, when we talk about growth, it really just highlights the fact that in the Stitch community, what you are looking for, what everyone's looking for is new connections, new friends to build. And the more people in the community, and the more particularly who are active in the community, the more that's likely to happen. So we're really focused on those things. I'm just going to close with just to give you a bit of a glimpse, because if you're in a new area of Stitch or you haven't seen some of these things, or maybe you're a new member and you're still figuring it out, I'm just going to show you what stitches look like from my perspective. Because if you don't know, this is an Australian accent. I'm here based in Sydney, but we have members all over the world. I spend most of my time virtually connecting to members because we have to build communities everywhere. But I get to see this stream of activities and events happening when I look at Stitch. Just take a look. So this is all of the past activities, just going from today backwards, that are happening, that I have seen in the Stitch community here in Sydney. And you'll see it's not just the local activities, but it's virtual activities happening around the world. And it's just mind-boggling that this is just over the last couple of days. You see there's card playing, physical activity, meditation, walks, movies, dancing, picnics, lunches. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It just gets faster and faster and faster and faster. The more you see, the more you're just blown away by how much fun the people are having. I went along to one of the events just before Christmas. It was a masquerade ball. Some of the most fun I've had in ages. And everyone told me about an event that happened just before that, where they went out dancing with 137 people. That's what the community can be like if everyone just gets out of their comfort zone, gets involved, and starts focusing on doing things that enrich the lives of everyone, because that's what the community is all about. So it might not be like that in your area just yet, but that's what we're aiming for. That's the growth we're talking about. We really want you to be part of it. I know for some of you, maybe you haven't got all the connections that you were hoping for, and maybe this period has been a challenge because the holiday periods can remind us that maybe we don't have the family connections or the social connection around us that we would like. For those of you, I hope this year, the coming year for Stitch, really, really hits the spot and helps grow the sort of connections you're looking for. For those of you who have already found it in Stitch and are part of the community, thank you so much for being part of it. And basically for everyone who's gone out of their way to join Stitch and just be involved in any way, shape or form, I think you're wonderful. We're working as hard as we can to make the future better. And if you stick around to be with us, I'm sure you can be part of that journey too. So thanks everyone. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve, New Year period. Have a little bit of a break if you can, and then come back bigger and better next year. Just a reminder that if you like this video, please subscribe on YouTube, share the link, spread the word, that sort of stuff. It's really wonderful when you can do that. I also will just make a note that if you are not familiar, I run welcome events for any new members, but also long-time members. I'm missing one in January, but because I'm away for a little bit of a mental health and exhaustion break through the first few weeks of January. So if you don't hear from me for just a little bit, don't be worried. I'll be coming back. I just need to recharge my batteries. But look out for those events on the Stitch platform, and I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. So thanks again. Take care. Look after yourselves. Look after other Stitch members as well. And we'll see you in 2023. Bye for now.